Good morning lovelies and welcome to the May polytunnel tour. We have 2 polytunnels here on the farm, and this year we have been growing a combination of salads, some leftover crops from last year, and onions, broad beans, all sorts of things. And we've had some wins and definitely some huge disasters this spring, and I thought I would quickly show you what's been happening, what's been thriving, what hasn't been thriving, and yeah, hope you find this interesting. This is Toby at the top, and as you can see we've got quite a lot crammed in here. These tall things here that are starting to bolt are actually leeks, and we have been harvesting these as baby leeks and selling them. They were in from last year, but they never really thickened up, and obviously now it's too hot and they're starting to bolt. So the leeks were sort of a bit of a disaster from last year, but they are tasty and they work well as baby leeks, so it hasn't been a complete disaster. So we've also got, I'll just walk to the top of the tunnels. These here are stirring onions. We also had red baron. That's a line of the leeks that are about to go. That's our second crop of loose leaf lettuce, which is fantastic. I love this stuff. It's got so many great textures to choose from, and it makes a really good salad bag, which is what I'm using it as at the moment. I've got a little row of beetroot which we'll harvest fairly soon. Like, it's starting to come up now and starting to thicken out, where I think we're about this, maybe an inch wide at the moment, so I'll let it get up a little bit more, but we'll harvest that when it's still quite small. I've got some salad turnips which are going this week, so they're going to be picked and given to sold to customers. And then at the second bit we've got our kohlrabi, which is looking really good. I'll give you a close-up of that in a bit. This here is another strip, oh, and a naughty slug that needs to come off, a strip of salad, which has done us really, really well and has been delicious. Some more salads down here. I've been picking all these for our customers. We had some, I think what we had here was an oriental mix, which was completely wrong for the tunnel when we planted it. We planted a lot of things like oriental mix and the kohlrabi and the turnips when we would usually have quite cold weather here in Northern Ireland, but we just had the most incredible April where it was scorching hot, so a lot of the crops that we put in were actually not great because it was just too hot, but we didn't know it was going to do that. So our oriental mix didn't do very well in the tunnels, but it's done amazingly well out in the fields, and hopefully I can show that to you in another video. Our kohlrabi though has done quite well inside. Kohlrabi is pretty hardy and drought resistant, so it tends to do fine in a polytunnel, so that's been grand. But obviously things like the rocket and the oriental mix has been a little bit more stressed out. So this is the rocket, which we have been harvesting. It's got lovely tasty leaves, but obviously it's starting to bolt now. That is some ishikura spring onions in this little block here, and more ishikuru here, and that's the spring onion, so that'll be harvested when it's nice and small. This is a close-up of our kohlrabi. Look at those leaves, so delicious, just the leaves alone, and then obviously these gorgeous roots, look at those. Right, we also have some strawberries here, but pretty much by accident. I planted a few strawberries a couple of years ago and they sort of come up and they fruit away, and we managed to steal some before the slugs get them. We have a fig plant, and then we have some chives and a mint, which really shouldn't be there, but it sort of takes over. Here is a patch of broad beans. I think these are ratio, and they are starting to pod up now, which is very exciting. Again, they need to be strung up, and I planted them way too close together, which was crazy because we've done broad beans for so many years now, and I don't know why I did that, but I did. Spinach, this is actually leaf beet, and we grew this all winter and we chopped it down and it's actually come back up, so we're still harvesting it and we sell loads of this. We have our peas coming up. Can't quite remember what these ones are called. These could be snow pea maybe. I will leave it in the description below. This is our winter crop of chard, which again we cut back. We're getting a few more leaves, we'll harvest that, but we will eventually take that out and put in our French beans and our borlottis and things like that, which are coming up next door. More broad beans. These are Eleonora. and we've got pods on them, which is very exciting. So that is polytunnel number 1. Oh, and then of course we've got some peas here as well, and these are doing really well. These could be mange too, I think, but I have forgotten, which is terrible of me. They're either Nairobi, pea Nairobi, or mange too, I can't quite remember. Hi Toby. Okay, so I will take you to the second tunnel now. So first up, I have some crops that are just keeping nice and cool here so they don't bolt. These are broccolis, I believe, mainly, and some purple sprouting broccoli. Okay, so this is polytunnel number 2, and we have had a bit of a disaster with this tunnel. In the midst of all that incredible April heat, we then had a crazy frost. I think it was like a whole weekend or maybe 3 days of frost, and we had a few disasters because of that. So quite a few of our plants got scorched by the frost, and also a lot of our chilies got damaged. Now we are lucky that we planted quite a lot of chilies, so they are actually coming up and they're all right. So we're about to plant those out in the next few weeks. We have our crop here of, what's this one called? This is a spring cabbage, the name Caraflex cabbage, that is done really well actually. It took forever to heart up, but it got there in the end. So we're selling a few of those. They're starting to get a bit worn out now, so there'll be the end of those in a couple of weeks. Behind me we have tomatoes. Again, quite a few of those got burnt by the frost and are sort of struggling to come back to life. So I'm keeping an eye on them, and I'm hoping that I can remove any that are dying quickly so we don't get any diseases. But considering that we just weren't expecting that frost, and it went from that extreme of heat to frost, I think we did pretty well. In front of me here is our seedling table. This used to be in the other polytunnel, but we've just moved it across. These are all our French beans, looking really, really good. There's some ballottis there, and they're all looking really healthy. These are some courgettes. No, these are all squash. This is blue curry, and this is some more blue curry. This one here is uchi curry. Slightly different variety. This one was damaged by the frost, but actually is coming back. These all came back, and that one we're just waiting to see what it does. That's some courgettes. This is green hoka squash, which actually was fine. This wasn't too damaged by the frost. And our spaghetti squash was damaged. That's the one that's dead, and we've got one that survived. Courgettes were completely wiped out by the frost, which was very frustrating. And we've got one coming up here. That's a gold rush, which I think will survive. And then, yeah, there's potentially another one. It's just ridiculous. Here we've got some butternut squashes. Courgette floridor has come back to life. Again, you can see the frost damage, but if you give it a bit of time, sometimes they do just keep coming up. This is the courgette Nero di Milana, and again, we've got a couple that I think are going to be okay. But what a disaster. We had so many and they all pretty much all died. Here is some kohlrabi that is doing really well. Cauliflower medallion. I think this is cauliflower ballot. Yep. And some purple sprouting. More beans, and this is Florence fennel. Some successionally sown purple sprouting broccoli, and I'll just bring you around to the other side. We have a dumpling squash here, which is done all right. We had a few losses, and the slugs went crazy over there. This is a cucumbers. So we've got a couple of varieties. We've got Tari or something, and Akito. We did lose a lot of our cucumbers to the frost as well. So again, not the greatest. I've definitely learnt my lesson this year. I've got some courgettes and cornflowers coming up. These were old seeds, so some of them haven't come up, but these are just for my flower patch. And then we had lettuce, baby leaf lettuce, and onion, spring onion, and the slugs went crazy and ate the whole thing, which was just mad. So there's a few that are still okay, but in general I'm going to just replant that today, I think. And that's the purple sprouting. So that's our seed table. So that's where we are with the polytunnels at the moment. It's great now because I feel there's a lot more space in them. We've taken so many of the seedlings and planted them outside now. And a lot of the crops have gone into the ground. Soon the beans will be in, and then we will have that seed table just free to have our successionally sown crops on. So I think it's pretty good. We definitely need to get weeding in here, but we do have a very large veg field outside as well, which I will show you at a different time. And it's hard to find the time to do everything, I have to admit. This year it's been a little bit crazy, but yeah, that's our polytunnel tour. I hope you enjoyed that quick video. If you've got any questions, leave them below and I will answer them. Thanks for watching. Bye.